Thank you so much for speaking with me today, Karalyn. I understand that you've been working with Food Plant Solutions for a while, and what an exciting time for you to be showcasing it internationally.
It was a real honour for us. So I started work with Food Plant Solutions in October 2012. I grew up on a farm in Rihanna, which is on the northwest coast of Tasmania. And I then did a agricultural apprenticeship and horticulture apprenticeship as well, and worked in the agriculture industry for close to 20 years. And so I was offered this job in 2012. I'd never heard of Food Plant Solutions. I remember hearing what they were doing and being asked what I thought of it. And I remember really clearly thinking, this is a no-brainer. This is an absolute no-brainer. To think that in Australia, for example, we've got over 7,000 plants known to grow here. There should be a plethora of food, and yet people are struggling more than ever to feed families, particularly nutritious food. Our vision is to create resources to share free of charge with the wider audience, whether that be here at home in Tasmania, whether it be on mainland Australia, or whether it be internationally. Certainly when Food Plant Solutions was started, it was started with a focus on developing countries. We certainly have a lot of materials for developing countries. We have materials for close to 60 countries. I think there's over 150 materials that we have so far. But we're launching a new Tasmanian publication. The need here is very great.
Mm. So what have you put into those materials?
So they're highly nutritious food plants that are known to grow in Tasmania. They're a range of what we'd call common and less common plants. For example, we've got dandelions in them because of their nutritional value. I'm sure most people's lawns have dandelions. Not only do we talk about how to grow these plants, but also what nutrients they contain and how the human body uses those nutrients. So there's a plethora of gardening books for every country of the world, or cropping books, but that's where ours differ, because we include nutritional information and explain it in plain English.
Yeah, wonderful. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the history of Food Plant Solutions?
Yeah, sure. Food Plant Solutions was started in 2007, but the real hero of the story is absolutely Bruce French. Bruce, as I understand it, was studying, was at university, finished university and had to do some practical work or at the end of his course. And so he decided to go to Papua New Guinea. Once there, he was teaching the students, and they've come back to him and said, look, we're really grateful to you for what you're teaching us, but could you teach us about our plants instead of Western plants? And that he could find no resources about their local food plants. And that began a lifelong quest of collating information, fully referenced information on edible plants for all countries of the world. So Bruce has been doing that for over 50 years. He has created a database called Edible Plants of the World. That's a database that's freely available. It takes a bit of time to really understand how to use it and how to get the best information out of it. And so that's where we step in. So Bruce went to the Rotary Club at Devonport North and talked about his database and his life's work. And a businessman by the name of Buzz Green, who has a background in agronomy, saw the potential of this, thought the world needs this on a large scale. And so Food Plant Solutions began. We have continued to grow. Bruce's database now has over 33,500 edible plants. So we specialise at extracting information from that database to create science-based resources that the layperson can read and understand.
That's wonderful. Is there anything you'd like to encourage us individuals to do to further the work?
Oh, well, the more people that know about us, the more positive impact it can have. There was a study last year here in Tasmania that looked at food insecurity in Tasmania. Now, you think about Tasmania, a food bowl, and yet it found that 51% of Tasmanians had been food insecure. That's half of Tasmanians were food insecure. And if that's happening in Tasmania, then what's it like everywhere else in Australia? So we have some materials for various regions in Australia, but there's a whole lot that still need to be created. And most people don't know that these resources exist. So the single biggest things that people can do is share information about us, share our resources, but also, of course, donate so that we can create more resources for other regions that would like these resources. And of course, request resources. If they're in a region and they want to know a bit more about what plants to grow that are highly nutritious but out of the ordinary, then we can do that. And of course, our materials explain agroecological practices, and they're all available free on our website. One of our program partners is in Vietnam, and they do school gardens. We've created a whole set of materials for them. Principal was going through books with the teachers this day as a training day. And at the end of the day, the security guard came up to the facilitator and said, "That was incredible." He said, "We've been growing cassava for years." He said, "But we eat the tubers underneath, but the leaves we feed to our stock. But I've just learned that that's more nutritious than the tubers." So then he's gone home and changed what he's doing, and his family's eating more healthily. They're always amazed. They're always amazed by the number of plants that's available. It's incredible. One of the issues that we see in some countries where carbohydrates might be eaten a lot, but they're not supplemented with other foods, or where they're not eaten much at all. So we gradually try to introduce them. When I say introduce, we never introduce a plant to a country or region. We look at what's available locally and choose what's best out of those. It always bothers me here in the media where carbohydrates are given such a bad rap, because you're going to get fat if you eat carbohydrates. Well, if you're going to eat fried chips every night for tea, seriously. But if you're going to eat a potato that's cooked the right way and is high in nutrients, it's really important for your body. So marketing plays such an incredible role. A few years ago, there was a really severe drought in South Africa, and we had all these requests from South Africa coming in for information on plants that they could grow, because everything that they were trying to grow was failing. And I said to them, "Well, what are you trying to grow?" And so they were trying to grow Western plants, lettuce, tomato, cabbage, and of course they were all failing. And I said, "I can give you a list of plants that are known to grow in South Africa, that are suited to dry environments, that are highly nutritious." And so we did that. They came back and they said, "No, we won't." These were their words: "We would sooner die than eat our local food plants because they're poor people's plants." And that's the damage that colonisation has done. It's really frightening. One of the figures I saw, it was about a year ago, was that Africa imports 80% of its food. And yet Africa has thousands of plants known to grow there that are so nutritious.
I have been to Korea, and I saw the signs for KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And when I looked closely, they had broccoli in amongst the chicken, and cabbage and other nutritious foods in the dishes that you wouldn't see.
Wow, well, that's interesting.
It was some sort of natural response.
Mm.
The KFC is that, like, no, we can't just eat that. So they must have a fairly strong culture, but I feel like Australian culture is fighting colonisation, laziness, not wanting to cook, and the seductiveness to the palate of fats and sugars and salts.
If we stopped eating ourselves to death, then health systems, there'd be a surplus. But we keep eating ourselves to death. You know, diabetes is exploding, diseases are exploding because of diet. Bruce tells the story that he was at a church group that was for people from backgrounds that had a lot of challenges, and they were going to make some vegetable soup. And there were people there that didn't know how to peel a potato. This is in Tasmania. And so it's not just that people are lazy, that skill has actually been lost. They no longer understand where it comes from and what do I do with it? It's incredible. It's scary.
Hopefully there's young people out there who are curious enough to try and grow food that they had never seen before, never tasted before, but they want to give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sense of exploration in food and the joy that it can give you, hopefully that will save the amazing variety of foods out there.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. You've been such a pleasure.
Likewise. I've really enjoyed our chat.